first smart topic for you today, that wandering eye. How many of you have been in this situation? You know, you're out with your significant other, and suddenly there's a lag in the conversation, and he or she stops to check out an attractive person walking by. It's like they've lost their brain. Well, many people say this kind of behavior leads to cheating. Others say, hey, it's perfectly natural. So we're asking you on our Facebook page, what do you think? But first, let's reveal a new study on gawking that may surprise you.
I think it would be good for us to go out one night a week where it's just you and me. I think it would be helpful.
You've got to be kidding me.
What?
You just checked out that girl's butt.
For some, checking out an attractive person passing by is a harmless instinct, as natural as breathing.
Are you okay if your wife checks out a good-looking guy?
Oh yeah, I often say, hey, check him out.
If a good-looking woman goes by and he takes a peek at her, you okay with that?
Yeah, because he's coming home with me at the end of the day.
But to many people, that kind of behavior is an outrageous insult to the person you're with.
If your boyfriend and you are together and he looks at another attractive woman going by,
I leave him.
you'd leave him?
Rather than risk that kind of ire, a lot of people feel it's better to resist the temptation than to sneak a peek. But now a recent study by researchers at the University of Kentucky and Florida State suggests that not ogling that fetching passerby may actually be hazardous to your relationship.
Really, what we found was that limiting attention to attractive alternatives causes those alternatives to become enticing, like forbidden fruit.
The researchers showed photos of attractive people of the opposite sex to a group of female and male college students. Then they made them perform a task that distracted them from looking. Afterward, this group reported greater dissatisfaction with their current relationship than the control group, and they were more open to being unfaithful.
It sounds like what you're saying is it's better for your relationship to let their eyes wander.
I think really what our findings, what our research really shows is the drawbacks of trying to limit your partner's attention.
But even the researchers and, well, common sense say that craning your neck and gawking for too long or too often is most definitely not a good idea.
Don't do it.
Exactly. Not to the point where you're overexerting yourself when you're literally going into seizures and stuff to see her.
Yeah, don't go into seizures to try to see her. Hey, joining us now is a self-proclaimed date diva here in the Valley, relationship expert, Christy DeWitt. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you as well.
So you've got a website called datingtrenches.com, and you've also written a book. As you look at this study, what do you think?
Okay. Well, there is some validity to it, but I have to question the data.
Okay.
They did test a group of college undergrads. So our age range, maybe the average is around 20, 21, I'm thinking.
Right.
And they were all in new relationships.
Yeah.
So when you're in a new relationship, you're gonna look.
You're looking at everything. And when you're 21, you're looking at options for everything in life.
Yeah, of course you're. And you know, and when you're in a solid relationship, according to some of the other information that I read on this, you have less of a chance of having kind of that looky-loo if you're happy in that relationship.
That's true. Okay, so let's talk about then what some normal gawking would be. What would you classify that for? Because, you know, in this city, I think it's really hard not to gawk. There's a lot to look at.
I completely agree. Yeah, exactly. But, you know, when you're in a relationship, you don't go blind.
Yeah, no.
You're
not dead. You're still alive.
Exactly. So some casual, hey, I noticed that. You know, sometimes you don't even notice that you're looking.
Okay.
Now, if it gets to the head turned around and you do a complete 180, all right, a little inappropriate.
Right, right.
But, you know, just noticing somebody else or even making a comment. I mean, when I see a beautiful girl, I'll mention to my boyfriend, my gosh, she's gorgeous.
Right, right.
That's just a natural thing. It's just appreciating other people. But taking it a step further is another story.
Yeah. Now, when you say appreciating other people, that's really beautiful. When you're looking at appreciating other people as lunch,
or a snack,
that's a different thing, right?
Exactly.
Okay. So when is it inappropriate? When are we crossing the line? Clearly crossing the line.
Well, if you don't know that you're crossing the line, you'll definitely know when you see it in the eyes of your partner.
Yes, yes.
And if they are continually uncomfortable and feelings of jealousy come up, you got to ask yourselves, both of them, what is really going on? At what point, is there just an underlying current of issues in that relationship? If somebody's just casually looking, maybe the other partner has some insecurities.
Right.
So, I mean, it's a really wide field, but just a casual, checking somebody out, not a big deal.
Not a big deal. When you're in the middle of a conversation and you stop and can't remember what you're talking about and you've lost all focus, then there's an issue maybe.
I think so, definitely. Good point. Good point, yeah.
Okay. Social media, plays a huge role these days in kind of gawking and communicating and talking and crossing the line.
Oh, yeah.
So how does that all play into what's appropriate and not appropriate when you're online gawking?
That's a huge issue that a lot of people don't really know where that line is.
Yeah.
And you don't know when your significant other is looking at somebody else. However, I warn people out there that when you're in a relationship, sometimes things get a little stale and comfortable.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's not to mean that you need to jump and run on somebody you met on Facebook.
Right.
However, don't go buying a Southwest Airlines ticket because you met somebody in Nebraska that looked really cute and liked you, because a lot of those people, those aren't their photos.
And they could be a hairy creature when you get there. That's
they could
not
be
who you think.
They could be completely not what they appear to be. Right. So,
however, studies do show that if you are out there kind of looking at other people as healthy passersby, it helps you appreciate the person you're with quite a bit more too, because it means kind of your sexual libido is going. And if you're with someone that you're happy with, then that actual energy goes to them.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that.
Okay. Now, online, I know you're always answering questions for people, dating questions and things like that.
Yes.
Do you run into this a lot where people are saying, well, my boyfriend or my husband or my girlfriend is gawking? And
I have run into things where they say, what kind of behaviors is a person who is a cheater? What are they displaying?
Yeah.
So the gawking thing might be part of it. There are other signs, and not just one thing or maybe two things, but maybe it's 3, 4, 5, 6 signs.
Yeah.
That may be a big, flare.
Okay. There are ways to kind of keep that spark alive, though, with your mate.
Your mate, right?
Not your other mate, your mate. I meant the other person in your life.
Right.
Not you.
Although, one of the recommendations I have, and it's kind of saucy, is I say, have an affair with each other.
Okay.
So it sounds really funny.
It sounds very safe. That's probably the way to do that. Yeah.
It is. But here's what I would say, just to try it, just for fun.
Right.
Create a character. Now, don't tell each other what you're doing.
Right.
But you recreate your own character, a persona of sorts, and then just casually run into each other at the bar.
Oh,
Pick up on each other.
With a different hair color or something.
Ooh, maybe.
I could come up with a new name. Who would I be?
You might discover something about that person, even if you've been with them for years, that you never knew.
My husband and I would certainly be laughing a lot, that's for sure.
And that's one of the other keys, though, is laughter. And that actually releases dopamine, and it makes you feel better. And when you're feeling better and with that person, it strengthens that relationship even more.
Oh, there you go.
See, you're hitting the nail on the head right there.
All right. Christy, you're a hoot. Thanks for being with us. We appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much.
It's nice to have you here. Hey, a lot of you are sounding off on our Smart Family 15 Facebook page about whether you agree with the study saying that a wandering eye can help this relationship. So, here we go. Carmile Reeves says, just because you're married or in a relationship doesn't make you blind. You have to realize and appreciate what you have at home, because everything that looks good ain't good for you. She says, while I see another woman that's attractive, I will say to myself that she's beautiful, and at the same, I will see another man that's handsome and say, hey, he's pretty good looking too. Hey, Robert Joseph Christensen says, it's healthy for humans to fantasize. My partner and I talk about hot guys all the time, but we're secure in ourselves and our relationship to never think about cheating on one another. I think if you suppress the thoughts your partner has into submission, the more chances there are for them to lash out against you in retaliation. Beautiful. And Victor Atchison says, as long as it's just the eyes and not the hands or the other body parts. All right, there's some rules there. Hey, join the conversation. We're at facebook.com/smartfamily15, and we're reading your comments right now, so log in and let's chat.